I wanted to wait a little while before making this video because I didn't want to come off as capitalizing on the tragedy of the current affairs here in the US. As I'm sure everyone knows, a good man was assassinated recently for using his right of free speech. His name was Charlie Kirk, and there have been a lot of false narratives pushed about him and his purpose. As someone who watched him, I can confidently say that none of those narratives are true. With that said, I know that my channel, Lord Pog Gaming, is a gaming channel and not a political one. So I don't plan on getting political with this video. Instead, I plan on doing another gaming rant. First, let me welcome y'all to Lord Pog Gaming. I'm Lord Pog with 2 G's, and I'm honored that you're here. I know I just did one of these gaming rants, and that on the last one I mentioned that I don't do these often unless I feel compelled to speak out about something. Well, with the current tragedy of the loss of Charlie Kirk, I do feel compelled to speak out against Sucker Punch Productions, but not just them, but the gaming industry in general, and more importantly, Kotaku. See, I feel compelled to speak out against the gaming industry as a whole, and let me be clear, I have a lot of friends in the gaming space, from developers to players, and so this isn't a witch hunt that I'm doing. I'm also aware that this one rant could very well put my small channel in jeopardy. I could lose subscribers, get flooded with hate comments, and or other kinds of threats. Perhaps. But I'm also not so egotistical enough to believe that my thoughts and feelings matter enough for any of those things to happen to me either. Regardless, I'm not here to promote my channel in any way this time. What I'm talking about is so much more important than any of that, as some of what I've seen coming out of some of these studios recently is absolutely despicable. What happened to Charlie Kirk was heartbreaking, and as a father and husband myself, when I think of the fact that his children now have to grow up without their father, that his wife now has to carry on without her husband, it wants to break me down. As a brief explanation, because I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir about this by now, but for those of you who are still vague on the details, Charlie Kirk was a conservative who went around colleges debating liberal students and professors on their opposing politics. He had an open mic forum and encouraged opposing viewpoints to engage open and free on debates. He believed in challenging one another through open debate and engaging one another through conversation and not cancellation. He let anyone and everyone speak their mind, whether he agreed with them or not. Which brings me to the point I'm going to make here, and I'll back up my point with an example when I'm finished. Because his views were despised by so many, he was eventually assassinated for said views. After he was announced deceased, there was a flood of people in the gaming industry celebrating his demise. The amount of cope that has occurred with these disgusting individuals as a result of showing the world that they are nothing short of demons is mind-boggling. There are a lot of false claims about Charlie Kirk on the internet. Quotes taken out of context, followed by half-truths to slander his name. In other words, agenda-driven narrative to make it seem as if it's okay that he was murdered for saying things, mind you, and having beliefs that they don't like. Even the fact checkers, as I've discovered, are doing this, which just lets you know how much truth has been compromised as a concept. Drew Harrison, a 10-year dev of Sucker Punch Productions, who famously made the awesome Infamous series, posted a comment on social media celebrating Kirk's demise. I'm not going to repeat the post. I'm not strong enough to do that without breaking down. She has since been fired, and rightfully so. Yet sites like Kotaku write articles trying to paint this picture of her being a victim. On September 12th of this year, Kotaku released an article condemning Sony's choice to fire this loathsome individual and in so many words began saying how the political right in the US are fascists for demanding that she be fired, saying that, and I quote, a contingent of right-wing online figures and their followers have been using the recent assassination of conservative podcaster Charlie Kirk to punish people they don't like. That includes a developer of Ghost of Yotei maker Sucker Punch Production, who Sony confirms has parted ways with after she made a joke on social media about the shooting. Are they kidding? She celebrated the murder of someone because he was someone she didn't like. Charlie Kirk's death isn't a tool being used to punish people unjustly. I've seen many comments by folks out there who didn't agree with him, but they didn't celebrate a senseless execution. Kotaku would then go on to somehow navigate the article to DEI in gaming, saying that DEI is a conspiracy that some have in the nature that DEI is ruining gaming. Interesting, because they chose to use the word conspiracy there. Conspiracy, by its definition, means a secret plan being carried out by a secret group to enact something unlawful or harmful. The people who believe that DEI is ruining gaming are speaking out openly and lawfully. That doesn't sound like conspiring to me. DEI is not a conspiracy. Since it's been enacted, sales have dropped in major titles using it in gaming, meaning it's ruining gaming because it's not organic, it's forced, but that level of nuance is way above Kotaku's head. The fact that Kotaku began their article about the radical and abysmal comments made by Drew Harrison, trying to make it appear as if these right-wing creators, as they call them, are using Charlie Kirk's death as a tool, only to actually use Charlie Kirk's death as a tool to cry about the fact no one wants to play games like Assassin's Creed Shadows because there was no such thing in feudal Japan as a black samurai, is the equivalent of Kotaku pissing down our backs and telling us it's raining. They must think so little of their readers' intelligence that they openly contradict themselves in the same dango article. I didn't even have to search. It's not like they said one thing here, then a few articles later turn around and refuted themselves. It wasn't a treasure hunt. They completely made everything they claimed moot within just a few paragraphs. And why would they show so much hubris? Because they have three kinds of readers. When looking at their comments on the article, I came upon three different kinds of readers. First, I'll mention the readers like me. Those who read the article, saw it for what it was, a slander piece made to capitalize, which is ironic when you see what are obviously socialists using capitalism, but I digress. The article was made to capitalize on and use the tragedy of what happened to Charlie Kirk so they could further push their agenda while trying to make people like Drew Harrison appear as a victim. Then there's the willfully ignorant reader, those who believe in the same agenda and propaganda as Kotaku, so things like logic and reason, even if presented with such in opposition to their views, are going to be completely ignored. While lastly, there are the actually ignorant readers out there who don't have all the facts and are being lied to and indoctrinated into believing the lies being pushed by Kotaku. The final point I want to make, which will involve the example I promised at the beginning, is about something I saw in the comments. I'm not going to quote the comment word for word or at all, nor am I going to even mention who made it. By doing this, that alone should be the example I'm making. But out of respect for you Golden Wonders, I'll make a grander example. Ultimately, what Charlie Kirk sacrificed his life for was the freedom of speech. Even when whatever is being said is disagreeable to one side or the other, he died not because of hate speech, but because of speech that was hated. Which is a sentence I've been seeing a lot of on social media lately. But let's think about that. One of the key arguments is, how can anyone say that Charlie Kirk died preserving free speech, and yet Drew Harrison, was fired for exercising her right to free speech. Very valid point being made there. So let's actually think on that for a minute. Charlie Kirk used his right to free speech and was murdered over it. His children will now grow up without a father, his wife without a husband. Drew Harrison uses her free speech to praise this and gets fired. Both used their free speech and both were punished for it. Yet who actually suffered? Again, Charlie Kirk only wanted to find a way to resolve the issues dividing a nation by engaging in conversation and disagreement, but was known for often saying, let's find some common ground so we can try and come to an agreement and find truth. Yet he was assassinated, leaving his family without a father and husband. All that's happened to Drew Harrison for praising this despicable act is a dent in her wallet, which again is funny when you see a socialist suddenly worry about money. That, folks, in gambling is called a tell. So who suffered? Who's really suffered? Who's actually really been punished? In this country, the country of the US, we've had assassinations before. One particular that sticks out in my mind was the assassination of the president, JFK. And how terrible I've been told that was. I wasn't alive at that time, but everybody remembers it who was, and they all say it was a terrible tragedy. So for example, and why what happened to JFK and what happened to Charlie Kirk really exemplifies just how disgusting the people who are praising Charlie Kirk's death really are. JFK was a Democrat, and while he's remembered fondly because he died in service to this country, he wasn't exactly doing amazing work. And I don't mean that to bash him, no. What happened to JFK was senseless and heartbreaking as well. But he just wasn't exactly a strong president. His brother Bobby was doing some things, but that's beside the point. JFK had known ties to the mafia. His vice president, LBJ, was a racist. JFK cheated on his wife, and the Bay of Pigs was all his fault. None of that means he deserved to die. And when he was assassinated, no one cheered about it. Yet all this propaganda is being spread about Charlie Kirk. Lots of half statements and blatant lies by the legacy media outlets like CNN, MSNBC, along with gaming media like Kotaku, are cheering a senseless murder. I've done my best to not really make this political and have tried to not use words like conservative, liberal, Republican, or Democrat unless I really have had to, because in the end, it isn't about that. It's about this poisonous indoctrination that is infesting people's minds to the extent that they're committing murder. Then, when murder and senseless violence takes place as a result of these radical ideologies, those infected cheer while those truly responsible make excuses and lies, but never take accountability. Not even JFK's political opponents or the average person who disagreed with him cheered when he died. That shows the difference, folks. That shows just how far we have fallen backwards. I'm not saying we need to hunt these people down, which is why I'm not even going to leave a link to the Kotaku article. What has happened to Charlie Kirk has emboldened these individuals, so much so that there are regular people that I know who are receiving threats like "you're next" and "one down, more to go, don't be the next." My purpose here with this video is to encourage those who know what happened was wrong. Doesn't matter your politics, you know it was wrong. So hold those foul individuals accountable. Stand your ground and don't be afraid to use your free speech to call them out. Yes, the government will want to use this for political gain. Both sides will. Don't be afraid. Don't let them use your fear to insert themselves into your lives more. What we need now is less government, not more. And Charlie Kirk said that constantly. Call out those people who praise wicked and evil deeds and stand firm against government control. Boycott some of these gaming industries if need be. Don't buy their games. Make them suffer. They're not really suffering. That's the thing. They're not. Not like Charlie Kirk and his family are. I don't know who they think they are. These gaming companies who have the nerve to sit there and praise this despicable act. We don't have to buy their games. We don't have to support them. Stand firm. Let the world know you will not allow evil to happen and for the wicked to cheer when it does. I love y'all with my very heart and soul. Even if we don't always agree, nothing will change that. I want you all to know, ultimately, I love you and care about you. Thank you for joining me for this rant. And hopefully, I'll see you again on a more fun and positive video. Y'all come back now. Stay golden.
Of all the money that e'er I had spent it in good company, and all of the harm I have ever done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want or wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass and drink a health whate'er befalls. Then